I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This is a PayPal request for Jordon Vasquez. He wanted my thoughts on the Lego Movie 1 and 2. First off, thank you for that. If anyone's ever interested in requesting pretty much any type of video, you can request it either directly to my PayPal, send it there, or join me on my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. If not, no worries, but if so, thank you so much. Now, the Lego Movie, I saw this back in the day, and this is not a rant, to be fair. If it was 2014, it would be a rant. But I've seen a lot of bad movies since then, so it's not a bad movie. Because it has really well done animation, with some really entertaining action sequences, using POV shots and going through all the different landscapes of the Lego universe. The voice actors do their jobs well, whether it be Chris Pratt or Morgan Freeman, or yes, even Will Ferrell, which I'm not a huge Will Ferrell guy, but he does fine for what he's supposed to do. The Legos do look cute in the way the Legos, if it's building a different vehicle, you'll unstacking and stacking more. Like, I never grew up with Legos, so I don't have that mind frame of growing up and playing with Legos much. So there's not any factor. I'm like, oh, they're Legos. The plot, there's this villain named Lord Business and steals this super weapon named the Cradle and blinds Morgan Freeman's character who's a wizard, and it's supposed to be this prophecy. The piece of resistance, an object capable of disarming the Cradle, and then Morgan Freeman says, all of this is true because it rhymes. And sometime later, you have Chris Pratt, who's this ordinary construction guy who meets up with this lady, and the both of them go on this journey. And then they meet, Batman and all these other characters, Princess Unikitty, Morgan Freeman's character, the Wizard. There are moments where they're talking to all these other Legos, and you see a lot of cameos, including Mighty from TMNT. The Millennium Falcon comes by, and you have Anthony Daniels and Billy D. Williams as Lando, making cameo appearance voice-wise. And the thing is, there's a lot of clever stuff. Like, see, the action scenes are well done, like this chase on a motorcycle, and then they rebuild it to be a plane. When Chris Pratt is listening to the girl tell the story, in his mind he's just hearing blah 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 backstory, blah blah blah. The whole idea that the Cradle weapon stands for crazy glue. The piece of resistance is actually the cap that you put on the crazy glue. The action scenes during the Wild West town, the lead character uses his head and puts a wheel on there to use as a fourth wheel for the wagon. When you have the ghost of a character, it's literally something on a screen with no animation to it, and that's the ghost. So there's some clever stuff, and I get what it was trying to say with the movie, with the message. Just spoiler alert, you find out this is all in the imagination of a kid in the real world, and Lord Business is actually his dad, who he views as a villain because the dad has all these play sets of Lego that he says don't touch, and he put down with crazy glue, but then he sees his kid playing with it, and the kid's upset that you never let me play with this, blah blah blah. So I get his message about how fathers and sons getting together and don't take it so seriously, this whole thing, don't take it so seriously with all making this in mint condition, and these things are made to be played with. And the fears and the real world, Will Ferrell's going to crazy glue this stuff so they can't move. And it's sort of a way for father and son connecting when Chris Pratt tells the villain, you don't have to be the bad guy. And so that's the summation of the father and son bonding with each other. I get that, and I give merit to that, but at the same time, I didn't laugh as much as other people laughed. I got really, really annoyed with that song. Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of a team. I got really irritated real quick with that. And then it's one of those things where, honestly, when we got to the real world, it took me out of the movie. It did. I get it. It's meant to be clever and to have this big message. But I think not growing up with Legos, I'm watching the film, I'm getting a little bit more into the story, getting a little bit more to the characters, getting a little bit more into the situation. Okay, Will Arnett, Batman, this character named Unitedy, and how she's so nice, but there's something underneath. And then as I'm getting to these characters, boom, well, they're not real, but they kind of are. But all this was done in the kid's imagination. But then with this, certain parts, and especially the sequel, there's actually more to it. Because in the sequel, one of the characters is out of it, but then he's able to build a time machine and go back in time. So these characters are real, and they are alive. So I guess it's the Toy Story effect. I don't know, just the whole breaking the fourth wall, like breaking out of reality and being in the real world. Not like an animated world, no, like me, you there. Even when I first saw it, I went, oh, really? But I'm alone in that. People love that twist. I just I can't help it. It took me out of it. It's kind of like Turtles Forever. I love Turtles Forever, but I hate the final shot where it pulls back and it's Kevin Eastman Layer drawn. Say, no, don't break the... No, let me get invested in your universe you're telling. I don't know how else to explain it, and apparently I'm the only one that feels it. That, and I hate that fucking song, Everything is Awesome. I never thought it was an awesome song. I always thought it was shitty. The jokes about Taco Tuesday got old, and that's because in the real world there is a Taco Tuesday, so that's why, in retrospect, you realize why characters were talking certain ways, because it's all from the mind of this kid, this child. That's why certain people were reacting in certain ways. And, so it's not a movie I loved. It's never a movie I loved. Or I thought the third act really took me out of it. It just got really, I don't know, just also just felt really, what's the word I'm looking for? sugary sweet, or trying to be really, God, there's a word that's stuck in my head. Overly sentimental. And I don't know, man. Just didn't care. And maybe because it's hard for me to gather the message because I never went through that. What that kid went through. Never did. Maybe that says a lot about my real life, and that's true, but never went through that. Never played with Legos when I was a kid. Never had to deal with an adult and bonding over a toy or a game. So I'm not just like, nah. But it's not a rant because it is well voiced. Yeah, Liam Neeson as a good cop and a bad cop based on which position his face is in. You do have some clever jokes. You do have a peppy energy to it, at least, for the first 2/3. And the animation is beautiful. So, to give credit where credit's due, it's just not a film I particularly go for and lean towards to when it's to rewatch films. And the sequel kind of felt the same way. Don't hate it, but it's not a film I rewatch again, but I'll talk about that more when I get to that. So, it is what it is. It's a bad film. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.